Hey, so I'm trying something different today and I am pumped if you guys stick with me through it. I just did a 3-day course, online webinar with Eden Carpenter about human design, and if you know anything about human design or the energy world, human design's, it's kind of how you were designed to be, how you operate. That's the worst summary ever, but Eden Carpenter's great, Magic Kathy's great. Go look at them if you're interested in human design. But I am a self-projected projector, so I am meant to talk through things, talk out loud, and there's so many things I learned about it, and I want to work on talking more, just free flowing. And I just got done meditating, and now seems like a good as time as any because I have something cool to talk about. And one of the things that's cool about human design is you learn that you've been conditioned to kind of suppress who you're meant to be, and that's why certain things in your life are harder to complete or do or be than others. And growing up, it's interesting, I'm a self-projected projector where I talk through my voice, I find out ideas, I figure out who I am. So much of me gets solved through talking out loud and bouncing ideas off of just like one trusted person or just me talking to myself. I hear it and then I get answers. And so, one, I'm working on that more. Two, what you find out when you work on your human design is where you've been conditioned and how to make your life easier. When I was growing up, I would get double checks on my report card for excessive talking. I have always been known to talk a lot, and whether people are liked it or not, I just kind of talked. But it's interesting the way that our upbringing, I never was offended by the double checks. I actually was kind of proud, and it kind of got to a consistent point where I was like, okay, I'm about to be in 8th grade. Like, I have always had double checks for excessive talking. I'm gonna make sure I get double checks, even though it's a bad thing. And even though that meant you talk a lot, it never put me down. And then there's other examples of some people though, when they hear that, or if they're told they're too much, or they talk too much, or they're too much, what they say is too much, that makes them not want to use their voice as much. That makes them become this shy, introverted person. And for whatever reason, my Bazi chart, my astrology, everything shows that I'm one to fight back and not necessarily argue, but just stick to who I am, which is somebody who likes to talk. So I never took it personally. But it's interesting when we learn about our human design, when we learn about our Bazi charts, when we look at our Feng Shui, the things that we're meant to be, but we see we've been put down or told that that's not right. And so I love that I'm uncovering this a little bit deeper. I don't think that what I did notice from her class is that when I make these videos and when I talk on Instagram, when I talk on YouTube, and this video is probably going to go on both, is I am somebody that talks and I want it to be perfect. So I want to script out what I'm going to say, and then you guys don't see this side of it, but I edit and I edit and I edit for hours, especially in the beginning. I'm getting decent at scripting and not being a perfectionist at what I say, but some of these 6-minute videos I'm editing for 6 hours, from 30 minutes of content to 6 minutes of content. And when a throat, it's not chakra, it's an energy center in human design, but you could use the chakra as well. When it is not aligned and not doing what it's supposed to do, sometimes we alter what we want to say because we don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, we don't want to rub people the wrong way, and that's totally where I've been at. When I make these YouTube videos, I want to make sure that everything I say to you is valuable. I want to make sure that everything I say is just something you can take away, something that's perfect. So these ums and these pauses, I edit out. And so I just got done meditating and I wanted to try just talking. And if the message ends up becoming something I wasn't intentionally planning on, you hear me in Instagram, I'm very self-deprecating in that I'm a rambler. I'll ramble, I'll talk, I'll go on tangents. And so if I initially come into a video wanting to have a point and it goes somewhere else, supposedly that's okay. I thought that the professionals and the speakers, I thought they always had it planned out. I thought that they always were just so good at like knowing the outline in their head and speaking it, but apparently that's not the case. So today, this video is going to be totally unedited, and what I want to share with you today is important, and it's good, it's exciting, it's interesting, I think. So I'm a Feng Shui consultant. My name's Jeanette Sizikowski, and I help people align their energy with the energy of their space so that life is more serendipitous, so that things fall into place better, easier, faster, so that life isn't as difficult and hard. Because every single person is unique. I mean, hello, human design, we're all so different. Bazi, so different. That's your Chinese astrology. And then on top of that, everybody's home, when it was built, the direction it's facing, the forms within the home, everything is so specific. It's all a unique snowflake. And so, okay, I guess I'm gonna lie because I just lost my train of thought. So there is gonna be a pause here. So I help, brain's back. So I help people align their unique energy with the energy of their space so things happen faster for them. Now, what happens faster? The really common question when people are about to hire me as a consultant or do work with me in any capacity, whether it's, you know, something online, a package or something, they're like, well, what are the results I'm gonna see, you know? And even, I'll be honest, 8 years ago when I started this too, I guess I was just pretty optimistic because I was desperate in a sense to just get more money, more love, more friends, more happiness. Maybe not desperate's not the right word, but I was just so optimistic and like, ooh, how cool is more luck? So I never needed like an exact outcome, but it's very common for people to go into Feng Shui and want to know, and why wouldn't you? You're investing in some money, you want to know what the result's going to be. You buy a coach, you buy a trainer, you want to know that you're going to lose 10 pounds, you know? I get it. But that's very hard because it's energy. We're working with energy. So any astrologer, any shaman, you know, there's no promised result because it's a lot. We don't know how you're going to do. We don't know if you're going to do the adjustments we say. We don't know if you're going to be open-minded, and if we don't know all the work that's inside of each of us, like how much energy needs to be cleared. So as things come up, I want to share with you how Feng Shui shows up in my life, because my clients, you know, you can go read the testimonials and they all have very unique stories and outcomes, and that's all cool. And one day I'll get them not camera shy and maybe get some vocal, maybe I'll talk to them and they can share their experiences. But I'm especially inspired because the last few days I've been getting so many calls and so many texts like, this just happened, this just happened, this is so cool, this can't be a coincidence, I just Feng Shuied and this happened. So until they're ready to share, I will share how Feng Shui constantly, like my efforts of meditating and just having a good mindset and Feng Shui, all of that together, constantly things are showing up. So my story that I want to share is the past few days, so it's kind of like June 1st-ish. You know, every month there's new energies that come in. And Chi Pro Sam, you guys have to go like subscribe to her email list. She's my mentor. I'm her biggest fan. She knows that. And I continue my education with her and continue training because Feng Shui takes years and years and years and years and years to learn. And it's very dynamic. So anybody that just read a do-it-yourself book, those are probably the consultants that you don't want, you should vet first. So anyway, she does these amazing forecasts with Bazi and astrology, and it's like so intricate, and it's like a horoscope, but it's way more specific to you and your birth time. And anyway, June rolls around and I am in this period where I am growing this business more and more, and I am creating some secret stuff on the side that should be coming out in August. And just all these different ways to help get you all Feng Shui quicker, easier, and make it, I just want to make it really easy for you because it's so awesome. So anyway, I'm doing all these things and I'm very in tune with my energy. I'm very in tune with my thoughts. I know that our thoughts are like not coincidences. You know, sometimes we think some crazy stuff. And we're like, what? Where did that come from? But for the most part, when we have these nudges, when we have these gut intuition thoughts, like those mean something and we should listen. So I had one the other day, and this is very random. I'm technically Catholic. I went, baptized, all that stuff, went to church pretty regularly before the pandemic hit, and then we all went home. And I haven't been back since because I meditate so much and I just feel very spiritually connected that I just haven't been called to go back yet. And this is a good example too, that you can be religious, any kind of religion that you want, and also practice Feng Shui. It just strengthens belief further. And I had this thought just out of nowhere. I was like, I haven't gone to church in a while. Like, things are opening back up here. I should go back to church. Like, that'd be cool. That was pretty much the extent of it. And then a couple days later, Chi Pro Sam gives out her horoscope, if you will. That's not what it's called, but her forecast. And it's specifically for the type of Bazi Day Master that I am. And it was like, you might have some thoughts or intuition hits too. And she even said, she's like, what do I mean by this? Like, intuition hit to go somewhere new. What do I mean? And she was like, maybe to go to a new church. And I was like, well, that's no effing coincidence. That's pretty crazy. And so I was like, okay. And then I had one more thing happen with astrology, like a thing I read, and I was like, okay, so here's a fun tip. If you hear about it, if you feel it, think about it, and then you see it, on the TV, in a commercial, on a billboard, if you get 3 of those messages, those are not coincidences. Those are signs from the universe. You're meant to listen to that message. So my rule is, if I see it 3 times and it's not just me sitting there dwelling on it for days, then it's a message. And so I was like, okay, it's time to go to church again, obviously. And it was a Sunday, and it was 4 o'clock. There was a mass at 5, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna go. Well, very cool. I'm getting ready, there's time. I go into the car, and I get in the car, and I see 444. And I don't know where all my videos are about, or if I've ever shared my stories about 444, but angel numbers are big. And when you start looking at angel numbers and you start noticing your thoughts at the time and what's going on at the time, every number will be specific. Every series of numbers will be specific to something in your life. So to start off, you can read different websites and different books, and they'll give you a generic, 222 means this, 444 means this. Manpreet has a great, I'll link her video or something somewhere. She has a really good YouTube video about all the different angel number meanings. But for me, over time, 444 has been insane. And the most obvious message to, yes, go do it, you're on the right track, so obvious. And that'll be another video for another day. Maybe I'll make one just about my 444 experiences. But when I see 444, it means I'm supposed to buy the course, that I'm sitting there at the computer should I buy it? I'm supposed to do the thing. And so when I get in the car and I'm getting ready to go to this mass, I'm like, well, cool, 444. And I'm just talking out loud. I lost my father a couple years ago, and so now I don't even really address the universe. Sometimes I do, but I'm just like, okay, Dad, I'm going. And so I was like, this is cool. I mean, I just that's what's cool about energy, is then you just feel more positive and you're like, okay, this was the energetic pat on the back I needed. So I go to mass, and I won't bore you with all the religious lingo and all of that, because I know it's not everybody's cup of tea, but you can translate God to universe, you can translate source to Jesus. You can use those terms interchangeably if you are agnostic in your thought, because the whole point is, it's all sort of the same thing. In any religion, there's a higher source, right? And so happened to be this reading in Catholicism. We have a gospel, and it's the biggest reading where you're supposed to learn a lesson. And so I was sitting there, and it was about, again, I'm not going to bore you with the religious lingo, but it was about how the universe or God promises things, and it doesn't not follow through on promises. It just doesn't. It, he, her, whatever. It always follows through on promises. And that when, okay, there's no avoiding the religious lingo, sorry. When Jesus was brought to, or God said there was going to be a savior, and he was going to, like, it was prophesied that he would be the savior for the land, and people were like, okay, like, I trust you, this is gonna happen. And they didn't know how it was gonna show up, they didn't know where or when it was gonna show up. So, okay, bringing it back, I'm sharing this for a reason. Like law of attraction, you just always trust. You don't know where, you don't know how, but if you declare that you want it, and you say you want it, and you say it's gonna happen, and the universe is gonna give it to you. You just have to trust, and you have to release control about how it's gonna happen. So this whole message was about that, and how, yes, he's coming, and I promise, and all this stuff. And so I'm trying to make this fun for people. So that message, I was like, wow, okay, because certain things are happening in my life. I'm investing a lot into this secret thing I'm talking about making, and you know, when it doesn't come out for a while, you don't know if it's a good investment or not. And so a little bit of me has been thinking that way. And so basically this message was just like, trust, relinquish control. When we try to control a situation, like my voice, when I try to control it to not upset anybody, to not rub people the wrong way, to just like be like, I am a pretty neutral, even keel person, but just to be peaceful, I guess, when you try to control what you're gonna say, or just to even have a perfect message, right? Those don't, it just doesn't happen that way. Look at, you stumble, you think, I don't know. So when you try to control what you're saying to people please, or when you're trying to control energy to get the result that you want, it never comes out the way it's supposed to, because you tried to control it. You built up barriers, you blocked it, so it came out a certain way, but it was supposed to come out like this or something, you know? And so when we try to control the way our manifestations, the things we're trying to manifest, come to life, it just doesn't work, because the universe, God, Jesus, he, her, source, again, whatever, has a much bigger plan. It's going to come way bigger and better when we release control. Now, is this video gonna turn out way bigger and better because I didn't edit it? I don't know if I believe that, but so this message, there was so many more things with this message about trusting, taking risks, listening, releasing control. Awesome. It was exactly what I needed to hear. It was not a coincidence that I hadn't been to church in like a year and a half or a year, however long, and then that happened. And then the next day, Magic Kathy, who I mentioned earlier, she's a human design and astrology reader, and she's phenomenal. She's also a projector, and projectors only make up 20% of the population, and then I'm a self-projected projector in that. And in human design, and I'm like 3% of the 20%, so like it's really, I just work different in this world, and I want to work aligned, just like I want to be aligned with my space's energy to have things happen faster. I want to get to my dream life too. I mean, I love my life right now, but I know it gets better and better and better, and I know there's yachts, and I know there's Mykonos, and I know there's like Japan, you know, I know there's trips and all this stuff. And so anyway, using my human design to get even more aligned, she came out with a program, and it was an amount that I kind of told myself for the rest of the year I wasn't going to spend, because so much is going into this secret thing I'm making. But it was literally the day after I had heard this reading, and I thought, well, now this just doesn't make any sense. If I truly trust and I truly believe that everything I say happens and that I'm energy enough, I truly walk this walk of like what we put into the universe comes back, and I saw the 444 then, and I'm feeling like it's the right thing to do, and I trust her. Again, vet who you're working with. Don't just throw thousands of dollars at people. Like, there's absolutely no reason to do that. You're allowed to vet. You don't have to be cautious with money and never spend it, but yeah, be smart about where you spend your money. So anyway, I was a little bit over what I kind of planned for the rest of the year, but I am showing the universe that I'm listening, and this package is like exactly what I need. It's exactly what I've been wanting. And so, to conclude, Feng Shui recently has shown up for me in the serendipity of getting ready to present this cool new thing to my audience, I hate to call it followers because that just seems so weird, but like to my future clients, to all these people I want to share Feng Shui with, it is not a coincidence that I am also in this human design hole and that she comes out with this program that will help get this program, this thing, to all the people that need Feng Shui, serendipitous event. It is not a coincidence that I got that intuitive hit to go back to church and to listen, and that I saw 444. So Feng Shui and all of your energy and everything being aligned shows up this way. It shows up when you're present and you're listening, and things just easily unfold. And I guarantee you, when I talk to you in September, the way this thing revealed itself and how it goes, and just the things that unfold in my life until September after I can implement her package, is, I guarantee you, it's going to like rock my world, and it's going to be better than I had ever thought. And so it's really trusting, and after you Feng Shui, and when you apply Feng Shui, you apply it all with intention. You gotta know your goals. I know the exact number I'm manifesting. I know the exact things I'm working on getting out of life in the next 6 months. And then you just listen. And it does require us to slow down, and it does require us to be present. And we can't always be thinking about the future, or else I would have missed the 444 that was right in front of me. I would have blown past the idea that I was supposed to go to church because, again, it's not in my routine. I would have blown past the fact that Chi Pro Sam mentions it and confirms what I was thinking like a week before. You know, these are things you slow down and you listen, and this is how it reveals itself. And so I'm going to, they probably won't be 21 minutes long in the future, but I'm going to start sharing more of how Feng Shui shows up in my life, because I think it'll surprise you. But it's just, I have proof after every month. I'm probably gonna do it monthly. Every month there is something big and major like this where it just falls into place. And that's how Feng Shui works. Those are the results that you see, and I'm really excited to share those with you. If you're new to this channel, please subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you can follow along and you can implement these Feng Shui and mindset tips that I give you, so that you can see all of these wonderful, beautiful, serendipitous, easy life flow events that show up once you start implementing these things. Like this video if you're excited about it, if you believe me just a little bit that this is true, and comment below if you have any questions about Feng Shui in any way, or how to be more present, or human design. I'll take you to the people that are awesome, that are gonna not give you any BS, and I'll lead you their way. So thank you so much.